Hey everybody, Ryan here, coming at you with another favorites video. This isn't really a top 5 favorites video, but I am getting back into those, but I'm starting out with my favorite Stanley Kubrick films. And since he, for a long time, was my favorite director, and he's still like in my top 3 favorite directors, I'm actually going to go over all of his films really quick and just give you my favorite ones in order. And before I start, of course, I just wanted to showcase, some of my favorite Stanley Kubrick stuff in my collection. Got this awesome framed poster right here, and this awesome complete films book, just with pictures and all that kind of stuff, and about the films. And yeah, and also, if you haven't seen it yet, there's this awesome documentary about his life and his filmmaking career, and it's in this. It's called Stanley Kubrick: A Life in Films or Life in Pictures. Very informative, and it's really awesome. So definitely check that out. So, oh yeah, and I'm also wearing my Kubrick shirt, so I'm all set for this video. And before I start, I'm just going to go ahead and say I think all of his films, except for Fear and Desire, that's the only one I'm not going to cover in this video because I have not seen it yet, and technically he disowned the film by everything I've researched and read about it, and so it's okay that I don't include that. And there's another film that I'm not really going to cover too much, but it is Killer's Kiss, and I also think that's a great film. It's his it's considered like his first film other than Fear and Desire, and it's pretty good. It definitely shows the early signature trademark Kubrick type filmmaking, and that could be found on the Killing Criterion edition. I think it's just the Blu-ray. I'm pretty sure maybe it's on both, but I have the Blu-ray of it, so it's on that as well. With that said, yes, this is a ranking of his films by my favorite, but the thing is, I consider all these films, maybe except for like one or two, to be just as good as the others, except I just prefer some over the others. So with that little introduction, let's go ahead and get started. The first one, or this is actually the last one on my list, and it is Spartacus. And I love Spartacus, but the reason why this is last is because if you know about the making of this film, he wasn't the original director. He didn't have full creative control, but there's enough of his stuff in this film to make it a Kubrick film, and it's really well done, especially the scenes that he does. And I just think it's a great epic film, and I love this Criterion edition, so I highly recommend it. But it is last on my list because it's not my favorite out of all the epic films of the period, but since it is a Kubrick film, and I think he did a great job after he took over from, I forgot who was the director before him. It was another, epic filmmaker before him, and I think he was fired because he got into an argument with Kirk Douglas, who was the executive producer. I don't know the whole story, but Spartacus is still a good movie. Sorry about that. The next one is Barry Lyndon. Probably one of the most beautiful epic length films I've ever seen. If you have not seen this, it's basically about a guy named Barry Lyndon during the 18th century who is trying to climb the social and wealth ladder. And he starts out, small, he doesn't have any prospects at the beginning of the film, and he just climbs his way up. And it's a lot of people can think it's boring in a lot of ways, people that aren't huge Kubrick fans, and there's some Kubrick fans that think it's boring, but I think it's a great film, and Ryan O'Neal does a great job as the title character, and it has some of the most beautiful photography I've ever seen in a film. So yeah, Barry Lyndon. Okay, the next one is Lolita. And this one is a really good movie. It takes, basically, if you guys don't know, it's about a guy named, I forgot his name, but he's played by James Mason, and he becomes smitten with a younger girl. I think, she's a teenager, and he just develops like a crush on her. And and it's based off a controversial novel. Kubrick handles the story with such tastefully, I guess you could say, and it's a really fun movie, and it's really well made, and It stars James Mason, Shelley Winters, and Peter Sellers. I think does a phenomenal job in this film, and Sue Lyon plays Lolita, and this movie is just a great film, and I highly recommend it. If you don't get, I mean, the subject matter is definitely controversial, but like I said, it's a classic film and it's handled in a really tasteful way. So that's Lolita. I have a feeling these are probably going to fall eventually, but it's all good. The next one is Paths of Glory. This one came out in 1957, and it is such an amazing anti-war film, and it's basically about, a group of soldiers during World War I who are put on trial for cowardism because of, and they're not really cowards, they just did not win a battle. And these high up ranking generals who just sit around in office and don't really do anything, just play politics, are putting these guys on trial for no reason, basically just to make scapegoats and examples of them. And it's a very, very powerful film, very short, and that's why it's so powerful. It doesn't waste any time, and it contains some of the best tracking shots for film. Kubrick is known for his tracking shots, and this one is amazing. It's like the start of those amazing tracking shots that his films have, where the characters, it's almost like the camera is right in front of the character, and it's just like pulling back as the character is walking, and it's just such brilliant camera work. And I highly recommend this Criterion edition as well. The next one on my list is The Killing. This one came out in '56, and I love this film for a lot of different reasons, mainly because of the nonlinear storytelling, Kubrick's amazing camera work as always, and just the fact that it's almost like the beginning of the style of narrative storytelling that, Tarantino or even like the French New Wave movement did, where just everything is just nonlinear. There's narration, and just it's a crime film, it's a heist film, and it's just brilliant. Sterling Hayden is the lead, and he's just classic in this film. So I highly recommend this Criterion edition as well. Of course, I'm a Criterion nut, so I'm always going to recommend Criterion films. The next one, to be honest with you, I don't know why I put this one this far up the list, because I think I actually like it better than these two films. Well, I really like it better than these three. It should be right after Barry Lyndon, but it's Full Metal Jacket. Still a great film. It's just not my favorite of Kubrick's. I think the first half is by far more powerful than the second half, and almost it's like two different films. But that just makes it even better. And basically just follows a group of men, in Vietnam, starting from basic training all the way on to, actual battle, to just follows their, sorry for the little pause. I mean, it follows their experiences and what keeps them, mainly a couple characters, from going completely mad. It's like their journey at staying sane during this crazy time, and you see the consequences of war and training to some of the other characters, and it's pretty good. I mean, it's some really great stuff, great filmmaking, but I just like some of his other films way better than this, and it's not my favorite Vietnam War film. Apocalypse Now will always hold that for me, and but it's still, a great Kubrick film. All right. The next one I actually just got done watching for like the millionth time, and it is Eyes Wide Shut, his final film. I did a huge full-length analysis / overview of this film, like in my early days of YouTube. It's actually one of my highest viewed videos, and probably my most controversial video because of my opinions on it, and people have attacked me because of my opinions on it and all this stuff. But great film. When it came out, that basically people thought they were going into it thinking it was going to be like this, erotic type film, like a Basic Instinct type thing. definitely not. Definitely not. This film is an awesome look and really true look at marriage and jealousy. And basically, it's about Tom Cruise's character, him and his wife Nicole Kidman, who, they're happily married, and one night she gets offended at something that he said. Basically, like, he trusts her, he never gets jealous, and all this stuff, and she kind of gets offended by that, and it's like, why wouldn't you be jealous? Like, basically she thinks that almost like he takes her for granted and stuff like that, and so she admits that she at one time didn't act on it, but she almost acted on, I guess, having an affair with another guy. And basically, the whole point of it was that she, like, in one split second, just because one guy looked at her, she almost completely walked away from everything that she had in her life, including her kid and her husband, who's a very wealthy doctor. He goes kind of crazy and goes into this odyssey of mystery and weirdness, and it's just such a brilliant film. And it really gets into the psyche of, like, a marriage, especially dealing with, like, jealousy and all that stuff, and shows that, he's kind of a hypocrite and all this kind of stuff, and it's just a brilliant film. And yeah, I just love it. I just love the statement that it makes. And the tracking shots, as always in this film, are brilliant. Heavily misunderstood, though, this film, like most Kubrick films, but I think this one has gotten a lot more acclaimed with age, and as more people have looked at it, and that's why this is in my top 5. This is my number 5. So, Eyes Wide Shut. This one pretty much sums up the tracking shot situation that I keep bringing up, just because I'm obsessed with tracking shots. I always try to include them in certain films that I make. If it's like a home film or just like a short film, I always try to include them. I can't really do it since I don't really have a track, so I try my best to impersonate a tracking shot. But I think this film is one of the greatest directed films, especially camera work wise. And you guys probably already know what I'm talking about. The Shining, the king tracking shots with this film. It basically makes the Overlook Hotel seem like a character in the film. It's just so haunting, the way the camera works and moves with the whole, just everything. I don't really need to go on the plot details because everybody pretty much knows what this is about, but it is a masterpiece of horror, of suspense, and a film in general. Definitely an amazing film. I did a part 1 analysis of this, and I just never continued with them. I don't know why, but I did a part 1 where I talked about how this film is kind of like an allegory of the Native American Holocaust. So if you want to go back and look at my videos, you'll be able to see it. Pretty fun doing it. I might continue the analysis. It just became so exhausting, and yeah, I was at a hard point in my personal life in a way, so I didn't really have the energy to deal with it. So definitely check that out. All right. The next one is 2001: A Space Odyssey. Words can't describe how brilliant this film is. The music, the scenery, just the fact that no dialogue happens pretty much most of the film, except for like little parts. The unanswered questions of the mystery of this film is just pure beauty, and I love it. And it's basically about the steps of mankind and the evolution of mankind, not like evolution how we think of it, but it's just like it's like a glimpse into different time periods of mankind, fictional or not, because it is based off a science fiction novel, and goes into the future and all that stuff, and just such an amazing film. I've actually done an analysis of this one as well, so go back and check that out. I might put links in the description box for these videos. So, 2001. All right, my top 2. The next one is Dr. Strangelove, one of the funniest movies I've ever seen, one of the funniest, scary, and just kind of thought-provoking. Great cast, including Sterling Hayden, Slim Pickens, George C. Scott, Peter Sellers. Um, it's just an amazing film. I know most of you have already seen it, and yeah, so that's that. And you probably already figured out what my number one favorite Stanley Kubrick film is, and that is the heavily disturbing and brilliant Clockwork Orange. Everything from the visuals, especially the music. I love the synth score, the use of Beethoven, the images, like I said before, the story, you name it. This film has it, and it's just amazing. So I highly recommend it. Well, that concludes my Kubrick favorites list. And I guess if you guys have any questions, answer them. I'll try to answer them in the comments down below. Be sure to check out my analysis videos of the selected films that I mentioned. And as always, thank you for watching. See ya.